In this video, some disturbing new data appears to contradict some of the so-called experts who've been forecasting a slowdown in EV demand throughout the entire decade. The same experts who believe just 1/4 of all new vehicles sold in the United States in 2030 will be electric. And I'm not sure how to feel about this because, after all, data is data. Facts are facts. And facts don't care about Moron Stanley's opinions. Oh, hang on, sorry, I'm just getting apparently the fact checkers have examined this data, and this data is in fact Russian disinformation. And also there was no laptop, so forget everything I said. Morgan Stanley are right. This data doesn't exist. Hey, look over there, a distraction. By the way, if you'd like more content, head over to Twitter and subscribe at Stephen Mark Ryan to unlock 30 plus exclusive videos and counting fast. Or if you'd like an order of magnitude more exclusive content, check out the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon, where there's well over 300 exclusive videos and still counting. So don't tell Morgan Stanley, but over on the Financial Times, sales of electric vehicles in the United States are accelerating. By the way, this is true of everywhere on Earth, but this article in particular is just focused on the US. Tax credits, discounts, and improved production capacity, the latter being the most important, have lifted demand for EV manufacturers. US electric vehicle sales are gathering pace, hitting the 4 million mark at the end of June, according to data and analysis from consultancy Atlas Public Policy. The sales are being driven by a combination of price cuts at Tesla and Ford this year, tax credits worth up to $7,500 for consumers, and greater manufacturing capacity, experts say. Once again, I just want to underscore. The real key here is more electric vehicles are being produced and they're being sold. Caveat, of course, if they suck shit or they're extremely expensive, not happening. But if they're compelling and reasonably priced, they will sell. Build them and they will sell. I would once again like to put this on the record. Tesla in particular will sell every vehicle they make all decade, and they will continue to scale up production as fast as they can all decade. No tax credits are necessary, but hey, I'll take them, they'll take them. We've reached a tipping point. In fact, we're well beyond the tipping point now. EVs are inevitable. Sentiment is shifting at a ridiculous pace. Ask yourself the question, of your friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, how many now are considering their next vehicle might be an electric vehicle versus 12 or 24 months ago? Then ask the next question. How many are adamant that their next vehicle will be an electric vehicle? Then, 12 months from now, ask the same question. You might be surprised. Quote, there's no doubt that the pie for EVs is getting bigger. The more people that were buying combustion engines are buying EVs. Tesla sales are growing, but everybody's sales are growing, and that's a sign of a strong market. But I thought demand was collapsing. Isn't that what the experts were saying recently? I thought there was demand concerns. It took nearly 8 years to sell the first 1 million battery-powered cars, trucks, and vans in the US, a milestone hit in 2018. The 2 million mark took roughly 32 months, and the 3rd million took approximately 15 months. The accelerating pace brought the 4th millionth sale after just 10 months. I just thought I'd put this all in context for you guys and girls on screen now. Total cumulative electric vehicle sales in the US. The first million took 96 months. The second million, 32, about 1/3 the time. 3 million, 15 months, about half the time. 4 million, just 10 months. Wonder how long until the 5 millionth. This is not linear growth, ladies and gentlemen. This is exponential growth. The implications of this are profound. Most investors, most automotive manufacturers still don't get it. At the same time that EV sales are growing exponentially, internal combustion engine vehicle sales are declining at a similar rate. It's going to be absolutely brutal for automotive manufacturers whose bread and butter or only source of profits are internal combustion engine vehicles. In the next few years, we're going to see EV sales explode and internal combustion engine vehicle sales implode simultaneously. It's going to be absolutely brutal and faster than anyone expects. Tesla, Government Motors, and Rivian all reported strong US sales and deliveries for EVs during the second quarter, as did BYD in China. EV sales declined 2% at Ford in the second quarter. Oh, that's awkward. How do you have declining sales in an exploding, exponentially growing market? But they were still up 12% in the first half of the year compared to 2022. This next paragraph proves that the competition has finally come. Tesla makes up about 61% of the market compared to just over 4% for GM. As you can see, Tesla's in big trouble. GM are nipping at their heels, right? You did it, Mary. For the time being, electrified cars and trucks remain the province of early adopters, with EVs comprising less than 10% of new vehicle sales. The sense that they are mainstream only exists in pockets of the US market. like California, where nearly a quarter of new vehicle sales in the first 3 months of the year were electric. Some players in the auto industry want to slow the electric transition. Oh really? I wonder who would want to do that. I'm just kidding, I know, but let's pretend I don't. The Alliance for Automotive Innovation, well surely their name suggests that they wouldn't want to slow the EV transition, given that EVs are automotive innovation manifest. A trade group that includes major car makers has said stringent US emission standards proposed in April mark, quote, a significant movement of the country's electrification goalposts. The United Auto Workers Union, which is definitely not corrupt, and if you want to do some digging and find contrary evidence, well, yeah, you're right, it's extremely corrupt. What else can I say? Said on Thursday that standards for EV adoption should be set, quote, to feasible levels, tightening, quote, over a greater period of time. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I do just have to say it. There's no fucking need for these goddamn emission standards. EVs, the technology itself, is significantly better than internal combustion engine vehicles, and now they're at price parity, and the costs will continue to decline. You do not need to force automakers to force anyone to do anything. The transition is already happening, and it's inevitable. And the really unfortunate thing, a decade from now, when no new internal combustion engine vehicles are being produced anywhere on the planet, because EVs were so much more compelling and affordable, superior on literally every metric versus an ICE vehicle, they were a commercial inevitability, and consumers opted for the superior, more affordable, better, safer technology of themselves. All the folks who are involved in this insane, you have to have this many electric vehicles or this amount of emissions, they're all going to be going, look what we did. We did this. You can thank us for the EV transition. Without us forcing companies to do this, it would never have happened. Aren't we amazing? When in fact, as I pointed out, EVs are now a commercial inevitability. There is no need for anyone to legislate that no more electric vehicles can be produced by this year, or your average fleet emissions from vehicles produced need to be X amount. EVs are happening. This would have been like legislation forcing phone manufacturers to start making smartphones maybe 20 years ago. We demand that at least 35% of all your phones produced by this year are smartphones. It would have happened anyway. It did happen anyway. But rising sales mean more people are likely to know someone who owns an EV. As, quote, more vehicles hit the road, people will feel more comfortable with them. This is true. Sales of electric models, like the auto industry as a whole, are improving because the supply chain crisis has eased. Manufacturers are no longer struggling as much to obtain the parts necessary to build cars and trucks. New players in the industry, like Rivian, are also improving output as they move past the production problems that dogged their early days. The Californian company built almost 14,000 trucks in the second quarter, nearly 3,000 more than Wall Street expected. Good job, Rivian. It's a start. Anyone remember how many Tesla produced? About 30 times as many, just for context. Tesla also said recently that it will open its supercharger network to owners of cars and trucks made by Ford, Government Motors and Rivian. Anxiety over how far an EV can travel on a single charge is a persistent worry for US drivers, given the limited availability of fast public charging. Tesla's network of 12,000 superchargers represents about 60% of the total fast chargers available to US EV drivers, according to Deutsche Bank analyst Emmanuel Rosner. Discounts at Tesla and Ford have contributed to rising sales. Tesla delivered a record 466,000 cars between April and June after cutting prices in the US in January by up to $13,000 across models. In fairness, this is a somewhat misleading data point. It's true, but the most significant price cuts on the highest priced Tesla vehicles, the lowest volume vehicles that don't move the needle, and honestly, Tesla could delete, and it wouldn't make a fucking difference, the S and X. So the way this is worded makes it sound a lot more significant than the actual cuts were. This prompted Ford to price its Mustang Mach-E between $46,000 and $64,000. The Mach-E on which Ford are losing tens of thousands of dollars per vehicle sold, just saying. Tesla then lowered prices again in March, decreasing the starting price of the Model S. Again, why are we talking about the Model S? By 5% to about $90,000, and the cheapest Model X by 9% to about $100,000 again. These do not move the needle. Tax credits have also boosted EV sales, although it is unclear by how much. The Inflation Reduction Act, puppet Joe Biden's signature climate change and industrial policy law, grants consumers up to $7,500 in tax credits. Consumers are always interested, quote, whenever there is free money at play. But the list of vehicles that qualify for the full tax credit is abridged based on whether it is produced in North America and on the origin of the materials used in the battery. Only 10 of the 68 EV models currently for sale in the United States are eligible for the full credit. 3 of those models are Teslas, after the law lifted the cap on receiving the credit after a car maker had sold more than 200,000 EVs. A threshold Tesla passed 5 years ago, while the competition was still coming all over themselves, not for Tesla. The tax credits are helping demand for EVs, said Joe McCabe, chief executive at Auto Forecast Solutions. But, quote, honestly, who's it helping? Tesla. True, Tesla's selling the most EVs, they're benefiting the most, their consumers are benefiting the most from the tax incentive. This is their reward for having the vision, courage, and insight to move the entire automotive industry in a direction that nobody other than Tesla thought made any sense. That is the case for Quinton Gaines, a new Tesla owner in Clearwater, Florida. The Gaines family bought their Model Y last month after an aborted attempt to purchase a Ford Mustang Mach-E. Gaines said he wanted to buy an EV because the family wanted a second car, and he could not justify the carbon emissions of owning a second petrol-powered vehicle. Just for the record, Gaines is in the vast minority here, or maybe just virtue signaling, I don't know. We're at a point now, this wasn't the case years ago, but we're at a point now where consumers primarily aren't buying electric vehicles because there's less emissions or it's better for the environment. They're buying them because they're better technology. It's a superior product. The environmental ramifications are just a nice bonus, not the primary reason. They ordered the Mustang Mach-E in November. No local dealerships had EVs on the lot, and Ford guaranteed them a 6-month delivery window, Gaines said. But when the sport utility vehicle arrived in June, it malfunctioned during a test drive, losing power at a major intersection. A police officer arrived to help, Gaines said. The last thing the officer said is, "You may wish to reconsider your purchase." Apparently, Gaines took the advice. The Model Y, he said, was the only vehicle he could find that he trusted to drive properly, was eligible for the full tax credit, and could, quote, haul 4 people and a bunch of chairs down to the beach. Car makers are vying for attention and customers as the electric vehicle market develops. Quote, in the automotive space, not everyone can win, and right now it is, quote, the Wild West out there. So that was the United States. I'd now just like to show Australia and a few key countries. Shout out to Troy Teslack over on Twitter. Tesla sales in Australia are growing very quickly. If Australia were a country in Europe, it would be in second place in Q2 after Germany. Q3 should be higher after the price cut on July 1st. Tesla sales in Q2 2023, 15,728 in Germany, 15,170 in Australia, 14,352 in France. By the way, rest in peace, France. 12,785 in the United Kingdom. And here are Tesla sales in Australia on a chart going back to Q3 2019, roughly when I started this YouTube channel. As you can see, Model S and X in yellow there, irrelevant blips. In fact, you can't order them anymore in Australia. Tesla literally deleted these products. I've been saying for quite a while now, if Tesla were to delete the Model S and X, it wouldn't make a fucking difference in terms of Tesla's financials or growth. And guess what? They've already started deleting at least the right-hand drive versions of these vehicles. And I want to talk about this because you've heard for months, quarters, years that EV demand was slowing. The competition was coming and so on. Every step of the way, I continue to point out, hey guys, the only thing that matters is how many vehicles did Tesla sell on Earth. But of course, the disingenuous bears, the haters, the short sellers, and those suffering from SBS cherry pick or misinterpret the data. With limited cognitive faculties or adverse incentives, I can understand this. But let's just imagine that you're a Tesla short seller, living in your mum's basement, waiting for the next Tesla sales data to come out in Australia. And let's just say that it's Q2 2020. You've been tracking Tesla sales in Australia because Gordon Johnson's been pointing out that Tesla sales are collapsing in Australia quarter over quarter. You go, oh shit, he's right. Look, in Q3 2019, Tesla sold over 2,000 vehicles in Australia. But in Q4 of the same year, it collapsed to 1,400. Then in Q1 2020, it collapsed to just over 1,000. And then end of the world proof, Tesla's going bankrupt, demand is collapsing, it's over. In Q2 2020, just 702 vehicles sold in the entire country. At this point, rather than paying attention to global sales and production capacity, you think, oh, look, a trend. Sales are collapsing. There's proof that there's no demand for Tesla vehicles. But then suddenly, they start to rebound. And just a few quarters later, just a couple of years down the track, from a low of 702 vehicles sold, things peak at over 4,400 vehicles sold before collapsing again to 236 Tesla vehicles sold in the entire country in Q2 of 2022. A year later, however, Q2 of 2023, we have 15,170 vehicles sold in Q2 2023. What's going on here? Let me explain. The vehicles that Tesla sells in Australia are produced in Shanghai, Tesla's main export hub. When Tesla produces a vehicle in Shanghai, they don't put it on a boat and send it to Australia and then produce another vehicle and put it on a boat and send it to Singapore, then produce another vehicle and put it on a totally different boat and send it to Indonesia, or pick your country. There's a lot of lumpiness and volatility to the deliveries in every country that does not have a Tesla factory producing vehicles in the actual country itself. While people were freaking out about no demand, etc., in 2020, what was actually happening, Tesla's main export hub was selling vehicles to certain regions and not many to other regions. There are still many countries where you cannot buy Tesla vehicles yet. They haven't even begun deliveries in many countries. This is important to understand. There's so much underlying demand for Tesla vehicles that when they start delivering to a certain country en masse, you see this. Absolutely insane numbers. Now, for the record, if Tesla were to sustain approximately the same rate, just over 15,000 vehicles in a quarter, for a full 12-month period, that'll be over 60,000 vehicles. That'll be about 6% of the entire new vehicle market in Australia. Not electric vehicles, vehicles. Once again, I want to emphasize, it's very important, if you want to understand what's happening, to focus on how many electric vehicles a company is selling on the planet, not in a singular country, not a particular region. Otherwise, you're prone to miss the forest for the trees. And speaking of Australia, the Tesla Model Y is now Australia's top-selling passenger car, excluding utes. You might be thinking, what the f*** is a ute, bro? Ute is a utility vehicle in Australia. That's what we call pickup trucks. After beating the Toyota RAV4 in the year-to-date sales race, but diesel double-cab pickup trucks still dominate the top 10 sellers. If we drill down to just June 2023, a single month, Toyota Hilux, still the number one selling vehicle in Australia, a pickup truck, just over 6,000 units sold, but down almost 20% year on year. Tesla's Model Y, only just in second place, just over 5,500 sold, up almost 100% in a year. Ford Ranger, another pickup truck, number 3, the MG ZS, then the Toyota RAV4, a couple more pickup trucks rounding out the top 10. For some strange reason, Tesla's Cybertruck just came to mind. Why would I randomly think of the Cybertruck when I'm looking at the top 10 selling vehicles in Australia and noticing a huge number of them are pickup trucks? Yeah, I don't know why that came to mind. It's probably irrelevant. And in totally unrelated matters, not speaking at all about disruption or exponential growth in electric vehicles, because after all, Morgan Stanley recently told everybody that in 2030, 25% of new vehicles sold in the US will be electric, meaning 75% are still going to be internal combustion engines. They also, incredibly, went on the record in July 2023 claiming that EV demand is slowing down, and not only slowing down, but will be below forecasts, which are already way too low, throughout the entire decade. So in unrelated matters, I just wanted to ask the question, was there this thing that Tesla presented earlier this year at Investor Day 2023, something about a new manufacturing system, a modular way of assembling a vehicle to dramatically drive the cost down, plus a bunch of innovations in terms of electric motor, removal of rare earth materials, ultimately culminating in the ability to produce a compelling electric vehicle for half the price it costs them today? Did I imagine that, or is that something that actually happened? Because if that's something that actually happened, just wanted to ask the question, given the fact that the Model Y is now the second best-selling vehicle in Australia, the best-selling car in Australia, depending on the region on Earth, it's close to the best-selling or is the best-selling vehicle. And if you look at all vehicles sold on the entire planet, it is literally the best-selling vehicle on Earth in 2023, in the first half of the year. Remember, sales on Earth are what really matters. If that's true, what might happen when Tesla begins producing and selling a vehicle that's compelling and electric for about half the price of Model Y? Given the fact that Model Y is already the best-selling vehicle on Earth, and most people still can't afford it because it is quite expensive by most people's standards. Oh, that's right. I know what's going to happen. EV demand's going to slow down and the forecasts are too bullish, as per Morgan Stanley's genius prediction. Man, I really thought I had him for a moment, but it turns out that half-price, extremely compelling electric vehicle produced at volume is going to massively slow down EV sales, and definitely means that EV adoption will be a lot lower throughout the entire decade than the experts are forecasting. Because Morgan Stanley told me, and I believe everything they say, because they've never been wrong about anything as it relates to electric vehicles, or Tesla in particular. So in short, everything we saw in today's video, you know, the numbers, the facts, those things, well, that's actually just Russian disinformation. Doesn't exist. There is no laptop, and you should ignore it all because the experts are right. The experts are always right, and you can trust what the experts tell you. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is EV demand is slowing down. It will be less than expected throughout the entire decade, and there are very, very serious concerns about EV demand in the future. Also, Toyota are definitely going to be fine. They won't go bankrupt. Their strategy of not producing compelling electric vehicles, not even trying, Toyota certainly won't be bankrupt before the end of the decade. Toyota won't be used as one of the examples of what can happen to a company when a disruptive technology comes along and the dumbass company completely ignores it until it's too late. You'll never ever hear Toyota mentioned in the same breath as Blockbuster or Kodak. That would definitely never happen. How do I know? Well, remember, Morgan Stanley, who you can definitely trust, who definitely know what they're talking about, are very confident that in 2030 in the United States, just 25% of all new vehicles sold will be electric, which means companies like Toyota will be fine because 3/4 of all new vehicles sold in the US in 2030 will still be internal combustion engine vehicles, which is a good thing for Toyota because if that wasn't true, they'd be in big trouble. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon. And don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.